Welcome to the weekly report from FIBO Group. My name is Yuri Tsihush. The current trading week may show less activity than the last one, where the focus was on interest rates. To select multiple currencies that market participants will focus on will be quite difficult. But the trading week will be interesting thanks to the publication of macro statistic data. So the focus of traders' attention will be on the data of the index of economic sentiment in Germany, the UK unemployment rate, the index of retail sales in United States and New Zealand. Also will be interesting a preliminary estimate of GDP in Eurozone, as well as consumer sentiment and inflation from the US University of Michigan. And as always, Andrew Masters, an expert from FIBO Group, specializing in analysis of macroeconomic indicators in the world leading countries, would be with us. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, studio. Hello, traders.
Monday's trading day will probably pass without significant activity from the market. There will be some statistics out of Japan, the UK and Canada. It is possible that the foreign market may wait in anticipation of significant news. However, traders would prefer to work with currency pairs associated with the Japanese yen, better pay attention to the monthly report of the Bank of Japan and consumer confidence data. At the time of publication, as well as an hour after a publication, there may be some increase in volatility of yen against other pairs. However, our forecast, the expected performance is quite low. On Tuesday, the market participants will wait for data on the index of German economic sentiment. This index is a significant indicator of business conditions and is calculated by 350 German financial experts. Traditionally, after the release of these statistics, we can expect high volatility in pairs with the euro against the other major currencies in the Forex market. If the index is higher than expected, the euro is likely to be strengthened. On Wednesday, the market will show interest in the British pound with the release of the unemployment rate in United Kingdom. If to talk about unemployment, we can see a reduction. Since March this year, the unemployment rate has declined from 7.2% to 6.5%. Later on Wednesday will be the release of the index of US retail sales. The figure fell just in February, but in all other months it stayed about zero. It is important to know that this index has remained high for several years, which says about steady consumer demand in USA. These statistics can affect the course of trading in currency pairs connected with the American dollar. Thursday's trading day will begin with quarterly data of retail sales in New Zealand. On this background, trading activity is expected to be high in the Asian session, where the focus will be on the New Zealand dollar. Output data on retail sales could trigger a new wave of speculating activity. The last few years, quarterly data showed strong demand for retail customers' goods. If the value is above expectations, then we can expect strengthening of New Zealand dollar. The European trading session will be interesting due to statistics out of the Eurozone, including the release of GDP data. Since August of last year, GDP has remained about zero, which is a positive signal for Eurozone economy. After the release of these GDP statistics, value volatility of euro may increase against other currencies. And now, let's listen Andrew Masters and his news. Andrew?
Hello, I'm Andrew Masters from FIBO Group, and welcome to my weekly report. Last week, the Australian dollar slipped to a 2-month low as a number of economic and political factors weighed on the currency. Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski told reporters last week that Russia had increased its military presence on the Ukraine border, suggesting a possible escalation in the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Also last Friday, US President Barack Obama gave the go-ahead for airstrikes against rebels in Iraq, putting pressure on the Aussie as investors move their positions to the safety of the US dollar. On the economic front last week, and dragging down the Aussie dollar, was an unexpected rise in unemployment from 6% to 6.4%, which was significantly above most analysts' expectations. The Reserve Bank of Australia kept interest rates on hold at 2.5% and followed up with their economic outlook by downgrading their inflation forecast by 0.75% to a range of between 1.75 and 2.75%. Following this downgrade, the percentage of analysts expecting the central bank to reduce interest rates rather than lift them has risen to 50%. Looking ahead this week, and with no important data coming out of Australia, analysts will be looking for signs of an improving US economy, with the release of US retail sales data and the industrial production report. From the political side, the most important factors will be whether US President Barack Obama will carry out on his threat to use military action in Iraq, and whether Russia will decide to become directly involved in the conflict in eastern Ukraine. From all sides, it looks like a difficult week for the Australian dollar, and we may see some volatility.
Thank you, Andrew. Friday's trading day will be interesting with the release of data on consumer sentiment and inflation from University of Michigan. Traditionally, this data can create a high volatility of trading activity of euro of United States dollar. Since May this year, euro dollar has a downtrend. Summarizing this week, we can conclude that the trading activity for traders will be distributed from one to other macro statistics. To select trading idea for this week is quite difficult because it does not exclude that the market can take another waiting position before the beginning of growth in business activity after summer silence. Thanks everybody and have a profitable trading week.